What's up, everybody? We're back. Like I said, I just had to get back over here and get my Ethernets plugged up so we could have a smoother live stream, but we're back online now. Now, I got this reactor. Hey, happy Sunday, well, Big Blue. I forgot it was Sunday. It feels like Monday, Tuesday. What's up, Brandon, on Facebook? Hey, good to see you here, Anthony. What's up, guys, on TikTok? Yo, what's up, Jamar? You doing something amazing? Thank you, Jamar. I appreciate you. You thought this was a skit? Oh, it's very real. Yo, what's up?
I was wondering about the plastic.
Yeah.
Are there impurities inside the plastic when you melt it down that interfere with having good quality oil or gasoline or whatever?
Yeah, so, you know, plastic, there could be impurities inside the plastic, but there's more likely impurities on the outside of the plastic. Like, for example, if we put a bag of Cheetos in there, right? There's going to be a little bit of Cheeto residue left in the bag, which is going to end up ultimately, you know, being broken down. So what happens is when we get our fuels, they're a mix of everything: gasoline, diesel, jet fuel. We have to refine the fuels anyway to separate out the gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. And in that refining process, we end up cleaning up and removing any impurities at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the question. So, you know, that's what I like about this machine, that I can actually put in whatever the hell I want, right? Like, I can put in any type of plastic. I could put in any mix of plastic. It doesn't matter. How long have you been doing this? I've started around 2016 when I bought my first shredder and extruder, and I tried to make... Oh, that's what's up. Well, I've been doing this for 3 years now. I started when I was just the edge of 17 years old. Are you able to do styrofoam? Yeah, I can do styrofoam as well. In fact, I have done styrofoam. I make gasoline from styrofoam. So yeah, any type of plastic works in here. It can be mixed together. It could be solo. It can have food residue, oil residue on it. It doesn't matter, right? It's all gonna start. You started using veggie oil fuel around 2019. Now that's cool too. Yeah, you guys know you could use vegetable oil and stuff in your vehicle, right? So a lot of different fuel sources in this world, and there's a lot of things that honestly are being suppressed or not told to us like they should be, right? Because it's like, why in the world are we saying that we have an energy crisis when we have so much waste that is energy? We have vegetable oil that can run in cars, planes. Obviously, plastic waste can be turned into fuel. I mean, it goes on and on. Food waste can be turned to methane or natural gas. So they're going to tell us we have an energy problem, but they're not going to tell us that we actually already have a solution. And the solution is actually the same thing that we currently have problems with, our waste. So it's kind of hand in hand there, right? Are there any types of plastic that's more difficult? I would say my least favorite type of plastic to put in here are the plastic that comes from water bottles, PET, polyethyl terephthalate, and the reason why is because it forms a lot of waxes on the inside of the machine when I put it in there. And the waxes don't do anything, like it doesn't mess up anything, but it can just be frustrating in terms of your pipes. Your pipes could get a whole bunch of wax just built up on the inside of them. And when I used to have smaller machines that had smaller pipes, that wax could actually build up too much and become an issue. But in these bigger machines now, it's not an issue anymore because they're so big that just a thin layer of wax is probably good. In fact, I opened up this machine, right, to take a look at it and see how everything's looking on the inside now that we've done a few test runs. And guys, there's actually, well, just like I said there would be, there's already a permanent layer of oil and wax on the inside, lubricating the blades. Just like I said that there would be. Is the wax flammable too? Yes, it is. But, you know, of course you don't want to wax in your engine or fuel, right? So, you said, what inspires you to start? You have a background in science? No, I don't have a background in science. What inspired me to start was I wanted to figure out a way how to do this myself at home in my backyard. How to get rid of plastic waste, right? Because I heard about that the recycling companies don't really recycle. And I'm just like, okay, well, they don't recycle. well, what's the point, right? I'm paying for recycling. They don't even recycle. Clearly, I don't have to do it myself. How can I do it myself here at home? Talks about what I found about the process of pyrolysis, and I'm like, well, boom, that's perfect. I can build it at home. So I built my first few reactors, and they worked, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to make it better now. We started to use microwaves. Once we got to the point of microwaves, we understood that microwaves, look at the shirt, you know, plastic plus microwave equals fuel. Plastics in the microwaves broke down way more efficiently, right, than when we didn't have microwaves, when we were using just regular flames or resistive coils to heat things up. So microwaves worked way better, and that's what we're doing now. We're continuing to innovate the microwave pyrolysis at the backyard scale to the point where we have this big machine behind me. You said, I guess your statement about the energy waste crisis answered my question. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, you know? Just thinking about problems and solutions, because it's easy to sit here, right, and just talk about all the problems. But for every problem, there is a solution. So we can talk about the problems, but how about we talk about the solutions, right? How and where do you get all your pipes and materials? Ironically, I've got all my pipes and stuff from Amazon. Like, all these stainless steel pipes coming off are from Amazon. But you can also get them from any other steel or whiskey brewery business. And this Manway, same thing. I got it from eBay, but you can get it from the brewery industry too. It's more expensive when you get them more from the brewery websites, but you can. Science is no different than the instilled idea in history. We possess all the energy we ever need within ourselves. Exactly, Chris on Facebook. That's exactly what science is. You know, it's just keep going, the perseverance to figure things out. Can you teach me how to build one? I am going to be writing a book on how to build one. A very simple design. And eventually we'll have the more complex designs. Vanessa, thank you for the badge very much on Instagram. I appreciate you. And the weather's doing great out here. Fate Dog on Instagram. What's the total project budget? Well, this machine is going to be probably coming around 25K. And that's for everything. You know, that's for the generators, the machine itself. So yeah, I'm thinking 25K, all the electronics. And we're already past 10K now, honestly. We definitely are past 10K at this point. How does a reactor break down paper and etc. if they aren't derived from crude oil? So here's the thing, right? That's a great question. I put plastic in here, and since plastic comes from crude oil, it returns to crude oil. But this machine doesn't care. It doesn't know that there's plastic in there. It's just applying heat and breaking it down. So it doesn't matter if it's not plastic. If we put in paper or wood, it won't turn it into fuels. Like, it won't turn it into like gasoline, diesel. It will just turn it into natural gas. Only plastics or things that come from crude oil will make you liquid fuels like the gasolines, the diesel, the jet fuel. Everything else would turn into natural gas. So it doesn't matter. And everything else that's not plastic is actually faster to break down. Because it takes less energy to break something down that has smaller bonds. And wood has smaller bonds than plastic. In fact, almost everything has smaller bonds than plastic. Because it's the long bonds of plastic that make plastic non-biodegradable to begin with. Hey, much love to you too, Larry, on Facebook. You're in the Georgia cannabis community. Hey, much love to the community. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? I definitely like what you said about the book. I definitely want to get a book with the blueprint so I can make a simple one. I have an automotive technology background, so I went to welding class. So
okay, you got it.
Yeah, so even if I'm just starting off with the starters, how you started, you know what I'm saying, I'm inspired to do that. That's one thing, just inspiring people with the knowledge. Um, and the other thing I was going to ask about was styrofoam, which I seen you said that could break down.
Right.
And another issue that that people have in the environment are like cigarette butts. Do you think like throwing cigarette butts in there and then that'll...
Cigarette butts will work in this machine as well. They'll work just fine.
So if it's not going to become plastic, it'll be carbon. Either
Yep.
way.
Yep.
So either way, you're recycling. Either way, you're opening people's eyes to how to really recycle.
Exactly. No matter what you put in there, it's all gonna break down and revert to carbon and then some type of fuel, whether it's natural gas or the liquid fuels.
I'm going to definitely be looking out for the book. Hopefully you have like a book signing or something like that. You know, I don't know. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a
You
good
know.
idea, actually. Yeah, but that book, it'll be coming out relatively soon. But that's the most important part, just like you said, education, getting the knowledge out there, so that way we all can, do things. What's up, 123? You have any other questions?
Nah, man, I be telling, you know, I know that the universe is with you, we with you, you know, all positivity, man, for sure.
Thank you, man. Much love to you, and thank you for your
Much
support.
love, bro. Yeah, for sure, bro. Peace.
You said hopefully you don't go missing. I've been doing this for 3 years. But at the same time, I haven't had any government agencies come to me. I haven't had any fire department or EPA come for me, so they can come at any moment, right? The biochar that comes from the process, is it biodegradable? So here's the thing about carbon. Carbon really lasts forever. So carbon doesn't really biodegrade, but it's not toxic to anything in the environment, really. Carbon is in everything. You're made of carbon. Diamonds are made of carbon. So carbon is okay. You said, why did the reactor explode? It was a small gasket that had blew. It built up a little bit of pressure, and the gasket couldn't hold up to it. So even though it was a very small area that just got leak, it was a pretty small area leak, right? But since it was so much pressure escaping at once, it sounded a lot worse than it actually was. If I heat plastic in a regular microwave long enough, would it eventually turn into fuel? Nope, it will not. It has to be no oxygen in there, and microwaves have oxygen and air in them. And you can't make them airtight. I've already tried to make a microwave body airtight. Are aluminum bricks and Type S motors still in use on Mark IV? Oh, you must. Hey, you're an OG. You must be from my first YouTube video, because I remember saying those things. No, they're not in use anymore. Primarily because of the blades. Now putting insulation, aluminum bricks, whatever, they never will hurt anything. They're always advantageous to everything. But the issue is, my blades in here, that kind of make it hard to add insulation on the inside like I did before. So I still have to design that type of thing for my next prototype. Is it possible to make a small prototype for vehicles? Yeah, I've already made smaller prototypes. They just don't work efficiently enough. As you get bigger and bigger, you get more and more efficient. Is there any type of plastic you won't work with? I don't like to work with PVC because of chloride. I don't like to work with Teflon because it has fluoride in it. So I don't like to work with plastics that have halogens because I don't have the tools to make sure that, my fuel is halogen free. Are you making another Mark? After Mark 4.5, we're going to build Mark 5. Once we get our data for Mark 4.5, obviously we're going to have it run, make the fuel, all that good stuff. But the whole point of Mark 4.5 is purely really a transitionary reactor. So you're a living legend. Well, thank you very much, Senzi. I appreciate you. What do you use the fuel for? Anything that runs off of fuels. Cars, weed whackers, lawnmowers, anything that runs off of fuel. Because we make all three fuels of the world. You can use a layer of steel on the opposite side of the installation if you want it to work that way. A piece of steel on the opposite side. I can't envision what you're trying to say there. How big of a shredder would Mark 5 need to have? Mark 5 is going to be completely automated. So it's going to be the type of thing where you just put in the plastic, shred it up, conveys that shredded plastic into the machine, and the machine opens up, boom, falls in. You know, it's completely automated. That's what Mark V is going to be. How has the FBI not come for you yet? You know, I don't know how, you know, something more local like a fire department have not come for me yet when I've had fires and explosions, but, you know, I'm not going to jinx myself. Can the carbon be used for something else? The best thing the carbon could be used for is probably biochar, or to be put in concrete as a filler to make it stronger. You said this might be random. How do you feel about fluoride in tap water? And how do you prefer your drinking water? Yeah, I definitely don't like to drink water with extra things in there added by these companies and stuff. I'll tell you that. The water I drink is completely pure. Because I actually have a water distiller at my house. So I can distill my own water and get 100% pure distilled water and then remineralize it myself. You know, add my own things to it after the fact. So I definitely don't drink tap water. And I don't think anybody should, for that matter. So a lot more in tap water than just fluoride, too. But even speaking purely objectively, I know they say, oh, fluoride helps with the teeth and stuff. And actually, it does help with teeth. It has been proven to do that. But there's also a lot of negative effects of fluoride as well. That have been proven as well. I mean, it's a chemical. Any chemical is going to have some potentially positive things and potentially negative things. But in the research I've done, the positive things are not outweighed by the negative effects of fluoride. They're not outweighed at all. Especially with how much is put in the water, right? You know, they say the poison is in the dosage, and it's way too much being put in the water, right? So, you know, everybody has their own kind of, you know, belief and thoughts on that. But I just base my things off of scientific research I've done, and you know, I know you know, there's some benefits for the teeth, but I don't think it's worth it, because at the same time, you know, you can add your own things or have certain things in your diet to benefit your teeth as they are, right? We don't need to have an extra chemical to benefit our teeth. We can do that ourselves, right? Or you could have look, toothpaste already has fluoride in it, right? So why do we need toothpaste with fluoride in it and all of our water with fluoride in it? I think it's too much. You know, and you don't have to swallow the toothpaste for the fluoride to get absorbed into your blood. You get absorbed through your mouth. So, you know, that's all I think about it. But there's a lot of other speculations, some deeper things people talk about. I can only talk about the science stuff on the live stream. Did you find out what the leak was? Yeah, it was my waveguide. The waveguide had a little gasket on it that had blown. And that was pretty much all the leak was. It was a pretty simple solution. How many microwaves have you been through? Oh man, I've taken apart quite a bit of microwaves in my time. At this point, I've probably definitely taken apart over 100 microwave ovens, right? Just to build these machines. Do you use the generated fuel yourself or sell it usually? Well, I have never made a large enough amount to really do either, but when this machine makes fuel, it will make a ton, and I will be using it. What's the estimated budget for this whole project? We just said 25K. How did you get the idea to do this? What type of project was the inspiration? So I didn't have a project that inspired me to do this. Now I actually think about it, there was no project I looked at that made me like, I want to build that. Because there were no microwave pyrolysis reactors done at a backyard scale before, right? So, you know, my inspiration was really primarily just my motivation, which was I wanted to deal with plastic waste at my house, right? Here at my home by myself. So that was really the closest thing I had to any type of inspiration. And let me tell you guys something, right? If you guys remember, we were test running the machine yesterday. And we've been having an issue with the test runs, right? The issue we've been having is that the machine is not getting hot enough. Or the whole body of the machine. We only have waveguides near the back. But we need the whole body to be hot. We need the top or the front and the middle to get hot as well. for us to really start to produce fuels from this thing. Because right now we're just producing vapors, and those vapors will not be what we need them to be until they're getting hot enough. So here's what I was thinking, guys. I need to design, or I need to build 2 more waveguides, right? I need to build 2 more waveguides. And I think that instead of, I've been building all the waveguides in the back. But what I'm thinking is, I'm gonna put one of them in the middle and then one of them near the front here. All right, and when we do that, we're gonna see if that will allow the machine to get hot enough to make us fuels. Now the issue is these waveguides take a while to build. A single waveguide takes a whole day to build, pretty much. So it's not something I can just do right now and just have 2 of them. Boom. It's gonna take some time, but the idea is, now, here's the thing. When we get all those waveguides, that means that this machine will now have 5 magnetrons on it, the equivalent of turning on 5 microwave ovens at once. A very hefty beast machine. So where's the old prototype? I've rolled it away at this point. It's just going to take up too much space, but this machine is 3 times the size of the last one. So we'll have 5 magnetrons, the equivalent of turning 5 microwave ovens on at once. So, I mean, this thing has already been a beast, just the size of it, but this is going to start to take it to new heights, because we've never had a machine run 5 at once. Now, here's a little story. A Mark III reactor actually had 5 magnetron mounts. We never turned on all 5, but it had the ability to run 5 at once. We only ever did 3, though. Mark IV was the same thing. Mark IV had 5 mounts, but we only ever ran 3. So we're so proud of you. Thank you, Benji. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. So that's the best thing we can do, guys, honestly. Because we're kind of in this crossroads, right? We're in this crossroads where the only way that we're going to make fuel from this reactor, because we're still in a test run phase. You need to remember that. Okay, we're not here to get genuine results or make genuine fuel. Like, you're not going to see liters coming out of this thing while we're doing test runs. But I still want some fuels, But since this reactor is so big, the only way that we're going to get fuels, even from these test runs, is through what I'm telling you right now. We got to get some waveguides in the middle and at the end. And I'm hoping 1 is enough on each side. But I always said to you guys, I think that this reactor would need a minimum of 8 magnetrons to work and operate like we want it to. I always said that. I still think that's the case. Which is 80 amps of power. That's a lot. Or, how many kilowatts is that? That's 8,000 watts. 8 kilowatts. So, it's a lot. I was running the machine earlier today, actually. The typical run. I was also running it with the blades on. I wanted to make sure it could work with the blades, and it did. Everything was fine, like the reactor ran fine and stuff. But once again, the issue was, it just was not getting hot enough. And also, you guys have to remember too, with how the design of this reactor works, the plastic, by the time the plastic gets down to the middle of the machine, which is, pretty soon, if all my magnetrons are in the back like they've been, the plastic, once it gets to the middle, is not going to get any more microwaves hitting it. Right? You said, are you going to test run off your house, or have you already got a generator? Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a test runs off of my house's power up to about 6. Once we get past 6 magnetrons, I got to get a generator. Because the house is just not going to be able to sustain that much of a pull, of energy or electricity. So we're going to have to get a big generator pretty soon, because right now we have 3 magnetrons. We're about to, put 4 on there, 4 or 5, and then, 6, 7. At that point, we're going to have to. So that's what I was thinking, guys. I mean, I got to get this magnetron done, or this other waveguide done. I want to make some genuine. Said, how about running 10 magnetrons? We're gonna get there eventually. As I build more and more waveguides, we'll get to 10. you know, which is going to be absolutely crazy. But to run 10, we're going to need at least one generator. I need one generator and then supplement the rest of the house power. Well, then to run 12, we'll need 2 generators. Yep, I'm going to have to run multiple circuits. Yeah. Because even the generator, the biggest generator I could find, even the generator has the biggest individual circuit is 50 amps. Zach, thank you for the badge on Instagram. I appreciate you every time, man. Much love to you every time, man. I appreciate you. 50 amp circuit on the generator. And, you know, like I told you, just running 8 is going to be 80 amps. And so that's too much for a 50 amp circuit, of course. That's simple math, right? So it's going to have to be, you know, when we have 12 magnetrons running, it's going to be 3 different circuits, minimum. Because 12 is 120 amps. There's about 10 amps per microwave, per magnetron, right? And so just do that math, that's 120 amps. And if the best amp rated circuit we can get is 50, that's 2 50s and 120. Or I was thinking 2 50s and 130 amp circuit. Can a mod pin my question? Or I can just read what your question was. Let me see. I didn't look at the TikTok chat in a second here. My bad. T-Tum. I don't see. I'm looking for your question, T-Tum. I don't see it. Just retype your question in the chat if you don't mind, T-Tum, and I'll answer it because I don't know where it is. It's pinned. That would completely change the plans of all his models. What would? What's the question? What would change the plans of all my models? Does it worry? Do I worry about? Does it emit any radiation? No, it's not gonna. Thank you, Senzi, for the badge on Instagram. I'm 20. Okay, so in terms of radiation, microwaves reflect off of metals. You see, this whole thing is made of metal, so the microwaves don't escape. They're stuck in there. So there's very little radiation being leaked. I understand, but at what cost? Hydrogen can be generated at relatively low cost. Are you trying to compare? So a lot of people do this, right? Oh, here we go. What will you do with all the extra natural gas from the other trash? You run that natural gas through the generator to run the machine. Yeah, microwaves are non-ionizing as well. Non-ionizing radiation means it does not cause cancer or cell damage. I'm wondering, I know that the metal walls mostly reflect the microwaves, but would insulation still improve the performance as much of the heat inside as possible? Yes, insulation always helps. Always. Internal insulation is the best with microwaves. I don't have that in this one. Internal insulation is probably going to be in my next one, but we will put external insulation on this thing. Now, a lot of people, you know, they hear that I'm turning plastic into fuel, and they're trying to compare this to like a power plant. Like they're trying to compare this to hydrogen generators or whatever. People forget that I'm turning plastic into fuel as a form of recycling. I'm not trying to compete with a power plant. It just happens to be that we're turning it into fuel. But even if we turn plastic into wood with this machine, the point is we're recycling the plastic and getting rid of it. That's the goal above all else. So, you know, I don't really care about all the other things. It's just cool we're making fuel. And obviously I'm going to show that off, but the most important part is that we're truly getting rid of and recycling plastic waste in a way that actually works. Right? So we need to remember that's the goal above all else. Right? I mean, we're going to get energy. We're going to get fuel. That's amazing. But what's the main purpose? What's the main goal? What set me on this path to begin with? I told you. People always ask me what inspired me. I said I wanted to figure out a way to get rid of plastic waste at my home by myself. I never said I want to figure out how to get gasoline at my house. It's cool that we make gasoline out of plastic. I love that. It's amazing. Nobody's ever going to say that's a bad thing, right? Who doesn't want some extra gasoline from something that's a waste product? But that's not the goal. That's not the focus. The focus is getting rid of the plastic and turning it into something. But it just happens to be that since we turn it into fuel, that's one of the products. The fuel product is very important that we pay attention to because we need the fuel product to be clean and safe as well. But all I'm saying is, don't go comparing this machine to a power plant or a hydrogen generator or things, because those things are purely focused in energy. Well, energy is something we deal with, but the main focus is recycling, getting rid of plastics above all else, right? That's the main goal, the main focus, right? Above all else. You could change the condenser setup. All I did with the condenser setup was just make the pipes, I brought them down lower. That's it. Yeah, compare this to other things that eliminate plastic. That's perfectly said. Don't compare this to a hydrogen generator. Don't compare this to an oil refinery. Compare this to a mechanical recycling plant, because this is a recycling plant that just happens to make energy or did not make energy, but happens to extract energy out of the plastic. That's it. Why not advertise the fact you can convert all of the trash into as well to natural gas? I do, but not as. I like to do plastic because plastic is something that we know. It's like our kryptonite, right? All those other things, I don't think people would care about that much. I mean, I'll say it like this, for example, right? I already told you, all of the trash really only makes natural gas. I've advertised the natural gas products. Nobody really cares because they can't see it. It's not flashy. Liquid gasoline, holding it in my hand, seeing me pour it into an engine, that's flashy. People care about that. And then when I tell you that it comes from something that was our kryptonite, plastic, now it's something crazy. Now it sounds magical, right? Now it's a different level of shock factor. So I think it's the perfect combination of two things. Thank you for the $10, Christopher, on Cash App. He said, for the movement. You indeed, Christopher, are a part of the movement. I appreciate the contribution to this project, Christopher, off of the Cash App. What have you utilized the fuel for thus far? Weed whackers. We put it in a 1995 Ford F350, a diesel go-kart engine. So the natural gas has been used for many things. It's been used in my refinery, in my distiller. It's been used just to heat things up. I mean, it's a flame. You can use it for anything. I used it for cooking before too. So the natural gas is amazing too. I love the natural gas product. All right, I love it so much. It's my favorite product actually, but nobody cares because it's invisible. Can you use the fuel in RC cars? Yeah, anything that burns off of fuel, anything will use this fuel. If you can feel even a slight amount of heat loss, then you could save a lot of energy by insulating the parts that have the most heat loss. That's so true. Tyree Montgomery, thank you for the $16 on the Cash App. You said you're Tyree Malik. Oh, you said Tyree Malik. Oh, I got you. Thank you for the $16 on the Cash App. I appreciate you. You're already moderated. Tyree Malik is already moderated. on the TikTok. Do a vacuum jacketed vessel. Oh, actually, it's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea, and that actually might not be completely impossible to do. I'm thinking it might not be that hard to make a vacuum jacket. The only issue is the blades that come out and spin. But we could have it hooked to something else. Yeah, because that's the best ever insulation, right? A lack of air. If I put a shell around this whole thing and vacuum it all out, of course that has to be completely airtight. But then that's the best insulation we can get, right? Kevin Haynes, thank you for the $20 donation on the Cash App. I appreciate you, Kevin Haynes. What's up, the country boy? Oh, you're Kevin Haynes. Zara Crypto. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, that's the best form of insulation possible, right? I mean, I was thinking about doing some type of shell anyway, even if we used kale wool. I was thinking about building a shell. That's a whole other thing, though. I gotta like bend some sheet metal around and nonsense. Here's the thing, guys. Most of the heat on this reactor is on the belly of it. So really, I only need to, whatever I do, I only need to do it to the belly. Thank you, Brett Wax, for the 100 stars on Facebook. Thank you for the other 100 stars on Facebook. Thank you for the 50 stars on Facebook, Brett Wax. I'm not been paying attention to Facebook. My bad, guys. What's up, Chance? Chance Stark. I never met anybody with the last name Stark. That's cool. Should name your son Tony. Such an inspiration. Thank you so much, Chance Stark. We use gas for the cars too, yeah. A vacuum jacketed insulation could be a cool solution. I mean, it's the best solution, to be honest. And honestly, it's not that impossible. Since I do know how to weld, and I obviously am making airtight, vacuum-tight welds on this thing. What's up? The project's going good, or radioactive waves on YouTube. Yeah, we're gonna do jet fuel next. We're gonna run a jet engine, a little small jet engine, hopefully next. Julian, I'm trying to contact you already 2 weeks. Yeah, you can send me an email. If you decide to make a shell, even if it does leak, you can still use a vacuum pump that pulls a vacuum every maybe 2 minutes, depending on. That's true. But honestly, since I know how to weld and the jacket would be made out of metal, it'll be unacceptable for it to leak at all. Because like I said, this thing doesn't leak. Maybe it leaks a very small amount, but the welds don't leak. The things that leak on this machine are all the little gaskets I have. There's so many damn gaskets on this thing. The manway, the wave guides, every single pipe, the feed system, every single it's just too many. So when I see, right, when I pump in 3 psi of air in this thing, right, and I come back 2 hours later, and it's at like 2.98 psi, I'm like, whatever, it's all right. Because I'm like, dude, I'm not about to sit here and figure out which gasket out of all 100 gaskets is the one that's leaking. I probably need to just tighten everything a little bit, every single gasket, just a little bit more. That machine looks dangerous. Oh, it sure is. It's more dangerous than it looks. Yeah, I would love a jet engine too. You said you sent me 2 emails. What email? What was the name on your email? What was the name on it? So I'll look it up. My email team doesn't always respond to everything. Hey, what's up, Antonio? Much love to Tennessee. What's up, Pete? Hey, you're in a live stream on YouTube, Pete. I remember you were telling me that you wanted to come in a live stream. PET doesn't have chlorine. You're thinking of PVC. Yeah, the PET does have oxygen in it though, so we end up making a lot of water with PET. When you add another magnetron, don't you think it should be more of the middle and the end? Yeah, Pete, we were just talking about that. I was like, because I ran the machine again today for a while, a few hours, and we still got nothing because it's just too cold. So I was like, you know what, guys? I didn't want to do it, but the next 2 wave guides we're gonna add are gonna be in the middle and on the end. Just what we gotta do. I didn't want to skip. I wanted to just keep going down the line, but since we're test running this thing and trying to get actual products out, that's just what we gotta do. You know, if we want this thing to actually work, and that's just period. Does the constant use cause it to expand over time? I really doubt it. I mean, I can't say yes or no because I'm not measuring, but this thing gets hot, but it's not hot relative to metal. Like, the metal's not getting red hot. So I doubt it's making it expand like that. Maybe the gaskets, but I doubt the metal is expanding at all. So yeah, we gotta add these wave guides down. This should get some attention. Jet fuel made from plastic. Yeah, I can't wait. Will you build a lab for testing the oil? Yeah, I'll be sending my oil to a lab. I was just about to watch your video about the plastic shredder, and I saw you were live. Make sure it's an even wavelength, multiple where you put the magnetrons. Well, here's the thing, Pete. So, if you look at my Mark IV machine, right, I'd have the magnetrons kind of put like on one side and on the other side. This machine, every magnetron's on the same side, right? So the microwaves are entering the chamber like this every time, like no matter where they're at. So the issue is, right, the microwaves go into the chamber and then they spread out. Boom, boom, boom. And the good thing, there's two good things about that. First of all, since the barrel of them, just the nature of how the waveguides are and where they're angled, they shoot in, and a good majority of them are not even going to really interact with the other ones. It's going to go right into the plastic or into the carbon and heat up the plastic. But the ones that do shoot off to the sides, they will interact a little bit, but it won't really make a difference. And I'll tell you that because in my Mark IV machine, we did the same thing. You know, we had some magnetrons on the other side, but we only turned on one side of them, and it was the same situation where it's like, since they're angled at this pitch and since it's kind of a barrel, they kind of just go right to the plastic, to be honest with you. We're not relying on the reflection of the microwaves to heat up the plastic. We're relying on the direct just forming and just shooting right into it. I forget what that's called, but there's like two different types of microwave heatings where like you rely on it to reflect to get to what you want it to heat, and when you rely on it just to get right to where you are. I think it's called a standing wave versus a, I forget. I used to research and know all that stuff, but nonetheless, that's kind of the idea, and that's the point of what we're doing, and that's why I haven't had issues, and that is why, as I add more and more waveguides, like I have been noticing the heat has been going up, because they're not destroying each other. They are, I can't say they're combining, but they certainly are not destroying each other because we're getting more heat. It's always just been a matter of, now we need this heat spread out. So that's why I got to do 2 waveguides, middle and the end. And I actually I really want to do that like as soon as possible. I really want to have that done by tomorrow, if possible, you know. To be honest with you guys, I really do. Because I really want to see this thing work and run like I want it to. So, if I want to have any chance of getting that done tomorrow, I have to start building it today. You're thinking of plane waves? I suppose so. I forgot the exact name for it, but there's 2 different forms of it. Did you see my post about the coal to ammonia factory in Wyoming? I think I did. You posted that in Discord, right? I remember seeing something about like that, something similar to that. Excellent work, even if you don't accomplish what you have set out to do with young people to be more innovative like this again. Thank you, radioactive microbes. I agree. This is science. Science is all about failing just as much as it is about succeeding. In fact, you fail way more in science than you succeed. So even if this machine doesn't work, it's inefficient, whatever, it doesn't work, ever, the fact that I'm trying or doing it is really what the real message is beyond all else. You should have more magnetrons spread out, but I was thinking the rest of the odd space is for the rest of the magnetrons that you're going to add in the future. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to skip Zion myself, because I did not want to skip like going from, oh, we're slowly building up the magnetrons from the back to the front. And like if I decided in the middle of that, like, oh, maybe I want to change how these ones in the middle are. But now since I'm skipping, I just kind of got to just wing it and just hope it all works out. But I have to skip like this if I want these test runs to produce actual results. Now, if I just want to build this machine like I'm going to build it, you know, we can do the old way, the old-fashioned way, slowly building up. It's going to take 2 weeks of building these waveguides to get them all done. And that's 2 weeks of everyday building. And I get tired of building these damn things. They take so long. They're annoying. So that's unrealistic, right? But I like to test run this thing in between. I think it's fun. I like the break of test running this machine, seeing it come together. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, we got to do this other method where we skip. You know, instead of slowly building up every single waveguide to get to the front, we're going to skip and just put one in the middle, one in the front. Now, we're going to put one in the middle. And I wonder if in putting one in the middle, will it be enough? What do you guys think? What do you think, Zion myself? Because think about it, Zion myself, and Pete, think about it too. This vapor column is in the middle of the machine. So in theory, if I put a waveguide in the middle of the machine, it may heat up those vapors right under that column, and it may help. But at the same time, unless this end of this machine is equally as hot, the vapors are going to rather just go right here than go through all of that, right? Because these condensers have all the little holes on them, the shotgun condenser, so it's a zone of higher pressure. So the vapors would rather just stay where it's cooler and less pressure. So technically, we're not going to get anything. We shouldn't get shite results until we have at least 2 more waveguides. And that's at the minimum. We might need to put 2 on each section because, you know, this machine is so big. We might have to put 7. Wait, is that right? Am I saying that right? Yeah, 7. We might have to put 7. 7 total. So we're at 3. We might have to put 2 in the middle, 2 on the end. I don't know. They should be spread out logarithmically. More at the front, a couple in the middle, some at the end. Well, here's the thing. I'm just putting the mounts on there. All 12 mounts. I can turn on whichever ones I want. Right? Now, I know what you're saying, Antonio. Because since the blades are going to be spinning the plastic and moving it down, and by the time the plastic reaches the end of the machine, we want it to be completely carbon, it does make sense to actually have the most probably in the middle. Or probably the most in the middle and the end. At least in the beginning. Right? I would think so. However, having the mounts there is fine because I can always just not turn a microwave on. But I need the mount anyway. I forgot what you were using for microwave window to protect the magnetrons. I'm experimenting with a different material currently. I'm still working on to see if it's going to work before I share what I'm using. But I used to use fiberglass, like a welding blanket. But I stopped using the fiberglass welding blanket because it worked. But I figured out that, because this was the first ever reactor I did extensive pressure testing on, right? I figured out that once you get up to about 3 psi, those fiberglass welding blankets start to seep just a very small amount. And, you know, this machine doesn't get up to 3 psi, but, you know, it does get under heat. And maybe the heat might make them do the same, a little, very small seep. I don't like that idea. So I'm trying a different material that is completely, there's no seeping or no leakage of it. But I'm still testing it to make sure it can withstand the pressures and temperatures, and most importantly, the overtime use. That's why these test runs are good, actually, because they let us know what will actually stand up to the test of time. Do my welds stand up to the test of time? Do these gaskets stand up? I was worried about the gaskets of the feed system falling apart, potentially, from microwaves, but they've been holding up well so far. You said you wonder how the auger does with the microwave reflections? I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't have any way of knowing. In fact, there's probably almost no way in the whole entire universe to truly know. But I will say this. Mark IV had auger blades. Here's why we did shaftless auger blades. Because everybody's like, put a shaft, put a shaft, put a shaft. No. We have to do shaftless auger blades. Because without a shaft in the middle, that gives a huge open chunk where the blades are spinning, where the microwaves can just jump right in. If we had a shaft, at every moment, there'll be a gigantic block of metal in the middle blocking microwaves from getting to the plastic. So I don't know how much microwaves are being reflected by the shaft in there, but what I do know is that it's not stopping it from doing its job, because I opened up this machine, we put plastic in, there was carbon coming out. So the plastic is being broken down, the plastic is being broken down well and being moved down, so no matter how you put it, the blades are working great, exactly how they're supposed to work. And I have them spinning at the lowest setting too, so we're consuming minimal amount of electricity. That's why we have that high gearbox, that 100 to 1 gearbox. It's a beautiful butterfly there. Would a mica window work? So I've done mica before. Mica works for temperature, but mica is too brittle. When you get up to any type of pressure, the mica just crumbles. Mica was the first ever thing I tested. That's why I moved to fiberglass, because fiberglass has some flex to it. Because what happens is, when I would use fiberglass, for example, under the pressure, it bubbles up. But then you have it siliconed down and pressed down with the bolts. So that way it's fine. But you take mica can't bubble up, it's really rigid, so it just breaks every time. Since the heat required to crack the plastic into pyrolysis might be exponential as it breaks down. So maybe that's what you mean? I don't know what you're trying to say there. For gluing glass, have you done quartz glass? I've tried some glass before. There's a way to make glass work. Now, it's probably because of my engineering at home. But I can never make glass work without it getting destroyed as soon as I turn it on. The glass gets cracked every time. But they make pressure windows on an industrial level made of sapphire glass and quartz glass. So it does work, but it, like I said, it probably is because my engineering, I'm not making perfect rectangles, perfect squares, the perfect dimensions with the cutoff frequencies of microwaves. I can't make them perfect. I'm a human. And I'm not even using CNC, I'm using hands. Everything is hand cut. So that probably is why, but those are the best thing. Glass is the best. Because glass holds up the pressure, glass holds up the chemicals, glass, holds up the heat. Quartz glass, sapphire glass is definitely the best form. But doing it at home, I have yet to figure out how to do it without it breaking. I'll get it in there, I'll have it airtight, and as soon as I turn the microwaves on, the glass cracks. Spacing them exponentially would be mostly beneficial if the speed of the plastic was exponential as it reaches the end. Yeah, right, but the speed is always the same. What about hydro treatment? What do you mean, just like washing the plastics? Is that what you're saying? Sapphire glass, quartz glass. Yeah, they're pretty much the same when it comes to this. But when I've done research, they mainly use sapphire glass. So maybe sapphire glass absorbs less microwaves or something. Or maybe it is better with pressure. But either way, quartz glass or sapphire glass, no matter how you put it, there's some money. They're expensive. And I did not want to be paying all this money for these glasses that are so expensive just for it to crack. I'm like, I'm not about to spend $100 for a single sheet of glass that cracks on me. When there's other alternatives that are way cheaper that don't crack. When glass starts to melt, it absorbs microwaves, but only when melted. Right. And that's why it was weird to me when I was putting the quartz glass in there, why it would crack. Because it's not absorbing the microwaves. It was weird. I don't know why that was happening. Obviously, I'm going to give it another go later in the future. But like I said, right now, I'm working on a budget. Kind of a tight budget, too. Because we're doing all this stuff, and we don't even have, you see how I have my electronics. They're the most ghetto thing ever, just on a piece of wood. We have to build a flush-style electronics box. Things have to be automated. There's so much more money that has to go into this project right now that I can't be spending all my budget on some glass. Because we still got stuff to do, and we still haven't even made fuel yet like we need to. Oh, you may be talking to some other people? Yeah. But yeah, guys. Like I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start construction of this. And hopefully tomorrow, latest, we'll have at least the middle wave guide, okay? Now, I don't think it's even going to be worth running with just the middle. I really think that we're going to need the middle and the end. Because like I say, I touch this, when it's on, it's still too cold. So, you're just asking that, Zach, on Instagram. That's what we're doing next. Oh, I'm about to get started now, actually. Now, if I'm crazy, if I'm cracked out, I might be able to finish one of them today. Maybe we could do a little test run today. If I'm cracked out. Because it's already 2:35. These things take a while to build. We're going to see. But that's what I'm going to do. So thank you guys for stopping by. I'm going to get started on this thing. And hopefully we can get some fuels coming out of this machine pretty soon.